All right, well, we are here on Sunburnt Souls with the first time I've ever interviewed two people in this studio. We have Dom here, or as she doesn't like to be called, Dominique. So Dom and Sarah without a H over there, just S-A-R-A. How are you ladies?
Good.
You looking forward to today?
Yep.
I
Good to
hope
be
so,
here.
because we are speaking about all the single ladies today. We're talking about what it is like to be a single person, woman of faith, doing life in the world of the Christian church at the moment. So thank you for coming on. I think it's an important topic. Before we get going, could you each share where you're at? Are you dating? Are you not dating? Like where are you at right now?
Well, single.
Single?
Which helps for the chat.
It does help for the chat, yes.
Yep, prepared that earlier for you.
Yeah.
No, yeah, single.
Single? And Sarah?
Yes, also single.
Yep.
Dating, but probably with purpose. I don't know. Everyone says dating with purpose, but yes, cautiously maybe dating.
Okay, so dating with purpose. I've not heard that line because I've been married 23 years, so I'm way out of the game. What does that mean? So you're looking for somebody, but not just anybody?
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. And just being careful about who you open up to or, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And you're both professionals in your 30s, educated, travelled, had lots of fun in your life. So what's it actually like being a single woman in churches these days?
Um,
I think you're in good company. There's lots of us.
yeah.
There's
that's
lots
true.
of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it can be, it's tricky because you kind of start in your 20s and everyone's, really excited to be finding the love of their life, and you've kind of thought about that all through high school, and then, yeah, you kind of somehow just cruise along, and some people get married off, and then there's some people left, and yeah, you're in it together, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do have your girls, you got each other in the process.
Yep.
What's it like for you, Sarah?
Similar, I guess. Slightly different sort of record to Dom in that in my 20s I was not in the church. So coming back to it was what I expected. Everyone's basically married off, which is good. But it does feel like there's definitely more women now that are single in their like late 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
More than I would've
anecdotally,
thought,
it feels like it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the stats say, but you go to a church and you're like, there are lots of women here. Go to, and that's what you guys have found as well?
Yep. Yeah, I think you either get married really young or you're kind of just waiting for the right person. And if they don't come along, you're not going to you're not just going to settle for whoever comes along. You are waiting for someone that, is going to stand with you and share the same faith and strengthen each other. And, you're looking for a certain type of person. So if you don't find it, you would rather be waiting and single than kind of settle for something that's not quite right.
Let's stay there, Dom, okay? Because I wonder what the temptation is. Okay, so you're waiting for faithful man of God to, searching, putting the fleece out, whatever whatever your methods are. Is it ever tempting to be like, blow it? There are like so many epic non-Christian dudes who might treat me well. Like, do you ever feel like compromising your values just to find a husband?
Yeah, I guess if you put yourself in those positions to be tempted, if you're kind of looking in those areas, I think you could maybe find people where it might be like, oh, maybe I can really overlook this. Maybe if they're happy or if they agree with where I'm at, it might be okay. But I think when you're really thinking about it long term, every time it's like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think you could fake it for a little while, but it would come back around where you just, it would catch up with you, I think.
Yeah, it'd come back to bite you.
Yeah.
Because the principles in Scripture, they work, even when we don't want them to. Yeah. Sarah, you said you were not in the church in your 20s, so were you dating non-Christian dudes?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly through my 20s.
Yeah. And was that a good experience, or what was that like?
It was fine. Like, I think it's just the worldly experience that anyone would tell you about. Not bad people, but I guess growing up in the church when I was younger, there's always that sort of want or desire to have a Christian man because you want someone to lead you in your faith as well. And they need to take responsibility for the family. All those kind of Ephesians.
So not just like a tick box Christian man, but an actual. Okay, so say you're like back to the dating app thing. Say you're looking for someone, because I've heard that you can just tick, okay, I'm a Christian here, and then put yourself in the fishing pond of all these beautiful Christian women who are looking for a Christian man. What's it like having to try to decipher, okay, is this guy for real or not? Like, is that laborious? Is it fun? Like, what's that like?
I wouldn't say it's fun. I think it may be frustrating would be the word, I guess, because there's like an element of, it is great that you can kind of, you can filter down to that, but then even that you're looking for people that are genuine. And yeah, I've always thought like it's, obviously I haven't been married, but for me, marriage is like this partnership, and you want to be, I guess, encouraging each other and strengthening each other. So if it's not really going to have that element, like it's not, I think, it's not quite what it should be or what it's designed to be. So you kind of, you're doing your own filters as well, and you're kind of looking out for keywords, or maybe just you're looking for certain things and trying to avoid other things.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and looking for red flags and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, you'd be up for a date if, say, me or the pastor from this church or something was like, hey, we've got this guy, he's just moved here, he's a legend, he loves Jesus. Do you guys want to go get dinner together? Like, you're up for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always up for it, but I would say there are good ways to do that, and there are very awkward ways to do that.
Okay, let's go with the awkward way first.
I think just putting too much pressure, and right, we're going to have a dinner, just the two of you and us, and let's make it really awkward, like high stakes. You've got to be comfortable straight away. Whereas I think, you can still have group settings where you're just inviting a bunch of people, and like, I don't know, it's very easy to feel like the 17th wheel on certain things. But like if you just make it casual, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And that's good. So if it is sort of a setup, it doesn't need to feel like a setup. It can be like, okay, look, low stakes, this is that person, I want to introduce you. If it doesn't work, no big deal, but have a crack anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Have you ever been set up, Sarah?
No, not like in a Christian setting, no.
No. Because I can imagine that wouldn't be that fun if the person turns up and you're like, I know this isn't going to work, and you've got 2 hours worth of food to eat.
Yeah.
Well, don't
Correct.
do dinner first.
No, but it's good to know some of the things that people shouldn't do. As a single woman in your 30s, like, you mentioned one other time we were talking about this, you sometimes feel like people think you've got some terminal illness or like, how's that play out?
Yeah, I guess like, because we all do this, we put people into categories and you're trying to figure out where they fit. So if you're meeting someone for the first time, you're trying to understand what they do. And, we all ask general questions, what do you do for work and all of that sort of thing. And then I think when it comes to that, are you married, are you single, that type of thing. And then it kind of can sometimes shut down a conversation, or it can, sometimes people just feel awkward themselves, like they've got to solve it for you, or like, they feel awkward, and you're like, well, I don't know why you're feeling awkward.
Yeah. I'm okay
It's
with
making
myself.
me awkward now.
Like, I like my life. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You are, like, for the most part, we are fine, and that's why we're happy to wait for the right one.
Yeah.
So it can come, but like you do get that like awkward, oh, it'll happen, or and then you're like, no, I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not dying.
Yeah, you are fine. Like, there's a lot of things about singleness that are pretty epic.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not just loneliness and, like, watching love stories by yourself. Like, you've just been to Vietnam, you just went to Cambodia. Like, there's opportunity, there's, you do have freedom to go and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not this horrible sentence. And you're both, like, active in the kingdom. When Paul's like, hey, man, if you want to marry, go ahead. But if you're going to stay single, do so, and then use your time to see God's kingdom grow. Both of you are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul was a huge advocate for being
Stay
single.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's true. Like I have a capacity that my married friends don't.
Yeah.
Like I've got time, I'm available, and I think God's like given me heaps of opportunities.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because I'm more equipped or better skilled at something, but I'm just purely available.
Yeah.
And so he has definitely used that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really has. And you too, Sarah.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting, like, you're bringing people to Jesus and hooking them into life groups and stuff. Like, he's really using you. Do you feel the same thing? Like, with the singleness does come kingdom opportunity?
Yeah. Like, I think it's fair of anyone. We only have to worry about our time for the time being anyway. And I guess most people in our age are even starting to have kids or have got a few kids, and it's just, you just wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
You get to do a lot of things, like alone time with God is super easy because you just go whenever you want, which is cool. So it's great for those kind of growth aspects as well, yeah.
And you're like at the beach most sunrises, taking photos of the sunrises while everyone else is like juggling kids and nappies and stuff. I mean, there's some benefits. So you guys know this is like a mental health focused podcast. What does it do in your mental well-being on the tougher days? So there's the good days, obviously, but imagine like maybe, I don't know, a couple of days after a wedding and you're like, oh, I really actually wanted to be married by now. So there are the tougher days. What's it like for you in those times?
I think it just requires mental stamina because you do have those, and I'm sure in any season it's like that. You have your ups and your downs. But I think when you're in a position where you're single by circumstance and not by choice, you're in this, you feel like you're a bit in a waiting period. And I think when you're not aware of where you're sitting and seeking the Lord in that, it can be tough because it can feel isolating, or you can feel like, well, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why hasn't it happened? So I think it's just that constant staying on top of those, that internal dialogue as well, and what you're believing, because, you know, the reality is that I am a child of God, and that God's got a plan and a purpose, and so it can be tough, like you say, after you've been to a wedding, or like if there's times where it's just generally isolating, because it is harder to make friends in your 30s when you're single, and people have got different things going on. They're at different seasons. They just don't have the time.
Yeah.
So I think that can be tricky. And so just keeping your eyes fixed on God and really, just being aware of it and not letting yourself spiral with that negative kind of train of thought.
Good. I like your phrase mental stamina. And so do you think that's being cultivated by training? Okay. You know, you're training it in your late 20s. Now you're training it into your early 30s. It's like a muscle that you've had to learn to train.
Yep. Yeah.
You should quickly I don't know what it's called, trademark the name mental stamina, because I've never heard it and it's so good. It's a good phrase. What about you, Sarah Bear? In the hard days, what's it like for you?
Yeah. It's like I sort of see it in the same way with any spiritual struggle. It's no different. You're going to have the times where it is really hard and you're going to feel isolated, I guess. But for me as well, again, coming back into the church and stuff, I haven't been back in the church for anywhere near as long as Dom's obviously always been. So I do, and I've got to watch myself as I did all this in my 20s. So now I don't get this in my 30s. And that's probably more like my train of thought. And I know that that's a similar thought to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a reward system type thing.
Yeah. If you had stayed being a Christian your whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've felt like that before, where it feels like even when you're comparing yourself to others, and, you know, you've got friends or know people that they've had their first marriage and they're on to their second, and you feel a bit like, well,
Why are you getting that?
Yeah.
yeah, and then like, oh, do I not deserve it, or that sort of thing? So,
Yeah.
and it's not that at all.
No.
You know, it's but it can feel that way.
Yeah, you've got to remind yourself, as with anything in that spiritual realm, there's this huge mystery around it. And like and it's not comparable, but I do compare it to things like people get sick that are Christians and might get cancer or something.
Yeah.
And they pray for healing and may not get it. Like, but no one can tell you really why.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing, like, okay, you're not married, why? But there's not necessarily a black and white answer for it. Yeah.
I love that you're saying that, Sarah, because a lot of people will be like, okay, this is punishment for your unruly life in your 20s. It's not.
No.
That is just not how God works.
Like nothing that God says is like it would. If that was your thinking, then everything else that follows with how you think God works is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a good pickup. No, that is a really good pickup. And so you've got to like speak grace over your situation now that, okay, even though it's not what you would ideally want, you're still walking in grace. You're still not, afflicted by Jesus or anything. That's a really good point. I like that. No, I like that a lot. What have you found to be, okay, so we know that there's like a plethora of Christian women in the churches in their 20s and 30s. Do you think it's unbalanced with the number of guys? I mean, we touched on it earlier, but the dudes don't seem to be around. Like, is that just my perspective? Because I'm a pastor, I have to keep going to my own church, so I can't go and looking for dudes at other churches like you guys can, right? But is that the case all over the place? Like, if you go to the fancy churches up and down the Gold Coast Strip, are there also more women there as well?
It feels that way.
It definitely feels that way. We haven't church hopped, I don't think, for a little while, but yeah, it feels that way. Or there's a weird culture around it sometimes as well.
Okay.
Where they're praying for marriages in the church.
Yeah, okay.
Which is, I haven't thought enough about it to comment too much on it, but it does feel.
Well, wait a sec. So you go into a church and then they're up the front saying, Lord, send people to get married, and you're in the church as a potential victim. Candidate.
Yeah, it gives like a bit of a weird, you're kind of like, oh.
Maybe you just got the one like, or
I think I did.
It's hard,
I think it might have
sometimes
just
you
been
get the
one.
one awkward service. Have you ever had that? Where you get into the marriage prayer service?
No, but I've been to my fair share of Christian events, and I guess, I wouldn't say I've church hopped around, but I am involved in different Christian events, and then, you kind of have those awkward moments where it's like, all right, and can all the single people put their hands up, and then we're going to stand up. Like,
do they do that?
They do it in jest mainly, but but then there's always that element of if you're in a Christian mission space, it is a good place to find a partner, and people do find partners in those spaces all the time, but it does create a bit of an expectation sometimes, and I think people maybe focus a bit too much on that at times. But and you do tend to see that it's more of the Christian women represented.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a general rule.
It is interesting. Yeah, because it would be cool to see more guys. I mean, they must be feeling like they've won the lottery going around to all these churches, but then to see them step up, not just to be tick box Christians, but like you mentioned earlier, Sarah, like men who are willing to lead and have responsibility and lead a family and, be the real men.
Yeah, that's also part of part of some of the issue of dating and online dating is that you can say that you're a Christian so easily and then have no follow through and have a million excuses or reasons why you don't serve or you don't go to church on Sunday or why you think hooking up's fine with different people all the time. And yeah. So it gives a bad representation as well, I think.
So you'll get Christian dudes saying, I'm a Christian, and then just wanting to hook up at the end of dinner.
Yeah. Can we just do casual or...
Just catch up casually. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, so then moving forward, right, there's only really two options. One person comes along, no person comes along, right? Someone comes along or they don't. What are you going to do both in your life and faith and mental well-being in either of those scenarios? I don't know. Dom, do you want to go first? You're closest.
I guess you have that thought, like I was saying earlier, like you're in high school and you think, yep, life is going to look like this. You finish up school, you find someone, you get married, you have your like that's kind of the one path that you're that you're aware of when you look to your future, and you don't really consider, well, what if it doesn't look like that? And I think you get to that point. Well, I certainly got to that point when I've actually got to consider that there may be something different in store for me, and that's okay. So just being able to see my life take two directions, because I guess probably in my mid-20s I got to the point where I was like, well, I could sit around and wait for someone and be miserable while I wait, or I could accept that, I'm just going to, like, God's given me this life and it might look like this or it might look like that, and I want to be mentally prepared for either one, because the risk of I guess the pendulum can swing either way, can't it? You can either live where you're waiting and become really bitter and you're miserable, or you can go to the other extreme and go, well, I'm independent and I don't need anyone. And I guess either way you become a bit bitter and cynical and twisted. But if you're kind of just open to whatever God's got in store, it could be this, it could be that, you kind of have to leave that open. And it can be tricky because it's uncertain and you're not sure what it'll look like, and it requires a lot of trust. But also not losing hope either. It's just this weird balance. But I think, for me, I know that God wants good things for me. So I just trust that could look like, finding someone, getting married, or it could look like being single, and like I just know that he's got something good in store either way.
Was there like a defining moment in your 20s when you got to that resolution? Like, did something happen, or was that just a gradual choice? Or
Well, I always wanted to go traveling and do what my parents did, where they went on their honeymoon, they went overseas and got a van and traveled around Europe for 6 months. I was like, that is the dream. And I got to the point where I was like, well, what am I waiting for? Why don't I just go? And so I did. I just travelled around Europe for 5 months on my own. It was epic. I loved it.
Yeah, cool.
And you just become a bit more comfortable in your own company. And it's not that you're on your own, because you've got this opportunity to have a really awesome relationship with God, and he is so gracious in those moments of feeling lonely or whatever it is. I feel like you can draw close, or have those opportunities, like Sarah said before. You've got this time and the opportunity to draw close. So I think that was probably a bit of a catalyst for me. But
that's cool, man. That's cool. And Sarah, with you, someone comes along or someone doesn't. They're the options.
They are.
What are you going to do about either of those?
I don't have to do anything about either of those except be open to it, I suppose. It is like what Dom was saying, where it's hard. The hardest thing about it is balancing that. Don't get a hard heart about it. Keeping that flesh heart and that open mind, but also knowing that it's God. So really I can't lose either way. Yeah. But also coming to terms with the fact that it's not what you expected necessarily. Yeah. Yeah. Which doesn't mean it's going to be any less amazing or have fruitfulness to it, but it's just not what you thought, which is generally what God does anyway. But I would like to think that doesn't mean we're generally going to be single forever.
No, I don't think it means that. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, and any relationship has a risk of being an idol. So if it becomes above our relationship with Jesus, it needs to get back in order anyway. So you get to solve that sort of thing. But one thing I probably really respect about you both is you're not trying to do it in your own strength, in the sense of, like, with Abraham and Sarah, they wanted to have a kid. There was a kid that was promised, and then getting tired of the promise coming to be, he tried to solve it in his own strength by going the other angle with that other lady. I forget her name. Was it Hagar or something? If her name's Hagar, you know it's a trick. You're like, hey, sleep with Hagar. You're like, I'm not going to do that anyway. But like, he was trying to get the promise in his own strength, and I think that's one thing that comes to bite people in relationships, is when we try to do it in our own strength. Try to force something that's not there. try to date someone we know is not good for us and comes back to bite everyone. All the principles in the Bible are there because they work. And we all think we're like the exception to the rule of that. So that's super cool. Yeah, and so and I know for me, if I was single, I would have done something Abrahamish, like, I don't know, like if I was a lady, I probably would have got a sperm donor or, you know what I mean? Like I would have done an Abrahamish thing instead of just resting in what God's doing.
Yeah.
Do you feel rested the majority of the time? Would you say that like you're mostly rested with moments of frustration?
Yeah.
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 I think it's like a thing as well. It's not like you're made to be like Adam and Eve. So it's not bad or it's not thoughts that you shouldn't be having.
Yeah.
Like, so don't beat yourself up because you're like, oh, I really do want someone. That's okay. Like you're supposed to want someone.
That's right.
But don't dwell on it to the point where you're like grabbing at whatever is around. Yeah.
Yeah. And it does help cultivate a proper theology of friendship as well. Like there's a lot of things we can get from our friends, though they're not sexual or intimate, they're still fulfilling in different ways, right? They're still pure and they're still like lovely and noble and everything.
And that's why I think the church can just really, I don't know, fill some of those spaces. And it's meant to be this place of community. It's meant to be this place that's got multi-generations and, like I think I've heard teachings before that, back in some of those Bible days, they would live in these big communal houses. Yeah. And so you weren't, our culture now is very individual and very, very isolated. And so there's no wonder that, you can feel like that if you're not careful and intentional to include yourself in community because it's quite easy to live in an apartment on your own or, or not even know your neighbours and that sort of thing. So I think church, when it's healthy and functioning well, it can really be a place of refuge for not only single people but married or widows. Like it's meant to be that place for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys do that well. Do you feel like that's sort of satisfied in your faith community?
Yeah, I think we're lucky. Excuse me. I think we're lucky because Dom and I obviously same church and everything, but we have that group there where it's sort of just come together pretty miraculously and we're all on a similar page and similar walk. So, yeah. But I think that it's probably across a lot of churches as well.
Yeah. Words of encouragement for anyone who is just feeling a little bit sick of being single. If you could just take him for a coffee and just speak from your experience and your heart, what would be just a few pieces of revelation or information you could drop on them?
I think a big one for me is rather than focusing on what you don't have, focus on all the things that you do. I think when I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself or a bit off or a bit down, I just reminding myself that of what I do have and whether that's great family or, it could be great work environment. There's so many things and looking at the blessings that you do have is a good way to kind of focus on, I know it helps me get back on track and just remember what's important. Yeah.
That's a good point. Sebe, you got one?
Yeah, pretty similar. Focusing on the positive stuff and just remembering that it's like God's got it and it's so like cliche and everything. But at the end of the day, if you really believe that, worst case scenario is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. You girls have been helpful. I just think this whole topic needs way more fleshing out within the body of Christ, don't you reckon?
Yeah.
Like I just don't know if we're doing dating well. There's so many things. I didn't want to come in here and slander stuff and pick on the problems because we know there's problems, but we do need to start speaking into solutions, hey? So I guess if you're listening to this and you have any feedback or solutions, chuck the comments below. But ladies, would you mind wrapping up our conversation today by praying for us? We want to get you both to pray since we've got 2 for 1. Can you go first, Dom, and you, Sarah?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Lord, we just thank you that you are with us and that you never leave us or forsake us. Thank you that you have a plan that's so much bigger and greater than we could ever imagine. And so I just pray for anyone feeling alone or isolated or stuck, I guess, in their singleness or even in any stage of life they're in, that you would just come and be ever present and just draw close, and that they would be able to sense your presence with them.
Yes, Father, I just pray that your peace is resting on everyone that's listening to this at the moment, Lord, going through mental health struggles, single or otherwise, Lord, that we can just relax and rely on you, Lord, and keep our eyes focused on you. Remember there's a bigger picture, Lord, and that your hand is on everything. In your name, amen.
Amen.